Welcome to Captain's Quarters First Class, podcast from the Lighting Trade School. Today I'm super pumped. We have another guest on, a couple of brothers who have a really badass hardscape and landscaping company. They're doing a lot of cool things, so we'll be bringing on them in a minute. I just want to let you guys know, really diving into these. So if you're just starting out, or maybe you have, I know most of my listeners, right? You're just starting out. You have a couple 100,000. You're grinding. A lot of times you hear about all these wins. It can be super hard. You say, well, you can't understand. You don't know where I'm at. Well, that's what these are about, right? We know where we are now. We're winning. These guys that we're going to bring on, they're winning, but they also had to start somewhere. So with that, we're going to go ahead and talk to them, see where they were at and where they're at now. So without further ado, we have on the show here, we're bringing them to the stage. What is going on? Feeding the ducks, daydreaming, night driving is what I meant to play. Here we go. We got the Patio Brothers, Chris and Rich Vazzana. They
What's
have
up,
a 7-figure hardscape landscaping company. They also have Process to Profits. It's a school to teach other landscapers and hardscapers what to do. Check it out. We will talk about that a little bit later. But boys, how you doing today?
Doing great, man. Appreciate you for even having us on here. This is huge for us, so we really appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Having us on, man.
For sure. So first, we'll talk about where you're at today, right? Like I know, we do share an office, so we see each other a lot, right? The Patio Brothers. That's first off, what do you do? What you're a local service company? Like, tell me a little bit about what you're doing.
Yeah, where do you want to start? You want to start like from the beginning? So basically what we do is we're just a patio company. We do landscaping and Christmas lighting as well.
Strictly paver patios, no stamped concrete, nothing like that. Outdoor kitchens, walkways, retaining walls, anything outdoor we do. Trying to do more of that higher level patios for clients.
Okay, and you're just the one office. You just operate out of one service area.
Yeah, we got our office here. That's basically 2,500 square foot showroom. We could dive into that a little bit as well. And then we also have a shop, and that's about 8 minutes away from there. And then we also have another shop for a warehouse for our Christmas lighting.
Okay, but you just do projects kind of locally where you are. You're not multi-state or anything like that.
No.
Okay, awesome. And revenue-wise, you're in and above the 7-figure mark, doing local service patio hardscapes. Even if we ignore the Christmas aspect right now.
100%. Yeah.
Badass. So these guys know what they're doing. They're doing it. They're doing it what you want to do. These two guys, I guess I'll mention it. Are you guys twins?
Oh yeah, so we are. A lot of people say that a lot. So yeah, we are twins. We've been working together. We've been, at the hip forever. So,
yeah, literally, right?
Old now, so he's always next to me and
talk to this guy every day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Best friend. So,
okay.
Work together, we get along, and it's worked out awesome for us. He does mostly all the landscape designs. I do mostly all the patio designs.
Okay. And before we kind of jump into more where you got started and everything, today, 7-figure business, doing local patios. You guys out in the field every day, laying pavers, things like that?
No, we're more so running the business now. Whereas before we would always be in the field, and there was just no way of trying to scale it with us being in the field. So we needed to create these systems in place so we can be out of the field and trying to grow the business more. When we're in the field, there's always a cap, revenue where you can hit. So with us being out of there and running the business and going on estimates and getting more leads involved and landing more projects, it's a little bit easier for us to scale. And it's
okay. So I think that's one of the biggest mind fucks for new guys, right? So you're saying you actually do more work, make more money, even though you're paying guys to do the work.
Yeah, definitely. It was tough at first because, we're doing the work. I know exactly how I want it done. It's more efficient with myself and Chris on the job sites, but we had to cut that tie and find the right guys and put them in place and train and teach everybody how we like, the project's getting done. So the systems that we put in place helped us.
Sweet. And that was a super smooth process. Like the first couple guys you hired were totally legit and you just went, right?
No, that's what you think. You think it's like that. And it's just always like, hey, let's get someone in play, and that person may not work out. So it was just a lot of trial and error to see who was the right fit. And then it was just, you know, we didn't have like the correct systems in play when we were out of the field, and felt like, you know, our employees were running the business more as far as like just going to the shop and saying, hey, go out and do this job. We didn't have any, you know, apps or anything like that in place. And it just, we were more so on the job still, just trying to make sure things are moving along. And yeah, it was just a whole process to try to find out what works best. And it's not like you're just gonna jump right into it and be like, yeah, I'm just gonna take off and you guys do your thing. It's a lot involved.
Yeah, we all, you know, don't get us wrong. You know, I like to still get on the job sites, check them out, help them out for an hour or two here, get in the machine, just to move the jobs along a little bit faster and, you know,
more efficient.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, that's a lot different though than, you know, if you didn't show up though, the job would still get done. And that's totally different. A lot of guys have, you know, they can be so confused. Like that can be them hiring their first couple of guys can be one of the biggest hurdles, because, and I know I went through the same thing. If I'm going to pay someone to do the job that I can do, right? You guys can lay pavers. Like, won't I lose money? Won't I make less money? And for me, and obviously you guys just said, it's crazy because you actually end up making more money, right? When you have the right team, and you have to, you know, that's a big caveat, right?
You got to put the right people in the right seats, and that's the hardest part, is finding those people, you know, that want to commit to you. And when we, you know, hire on people, we go through our entire company of what we're about, how we even go on estimates, what we do, how to talk to our clients. You know, we probably and we go over all of our core values. So we basically have a whole booklet. You know, it's a whole our onboarding process. It might be a lot different than anybody else's, where, you know, we're sitting down for a good hour with that person to see if they're the right fit for our company. If they're not the right fit, we'll tell them right then and there. We ask them questions and all that type of stuff. And then we want them to know what to expect when they step on that job site the first day.
You know, for that higher end client that we're going for and that higher end experience, what we're, you know, showing our clients right from the get-go, right from that consultation to the proposal, to the contract, and then to the start date, you know, what we do once we arrive on that project. So, you know, teaching our guys that right off the bat is huge for us.
Yeah. And that's cool for me to see, because I've seen the evolution even since, you know, we've been together, right? Because even when I first was in the office and everything, you guys didn't even have, you might have had process. I'm not saying a process, but you didn't have what you have now. Like, I saw some of your interviews. They're just like mine. Like, hey, they showed up. Hey, man, we're going to lay pavers. You good? Yeah, I'm good. And it was that was like your hiring process, right? As long as they kind of filled out the app, showed up, and you liked them, that was it.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, and we set the tone right away. We have their name on a big 65-inch screen. When they sit down, they see their name. They see our company logo right there. So they're like, oh, wow, I see my name right on the 65-inch screen. And then we go through the whole process with them right on that entire that TV screen. Yeah, we have a whole slideshow involved when it comes to that. So it's
awesome.
Yeah.
You guys are like treating, like what a lot of business owners don't do, is you're treating the employees, like you have to advertise to the employee market too, right? It's not just the clients. There's a lot of badass guys out there that are never going to consider you if you don't treat them as well as the next guy, or you don't have a way of them understanding it. You guys, I know you lay out, here's ways you can move up in the company. Here's the plans. It's brilliant. It's a second form of marketing. You're marketing towards an employee rather than just a client, which is awesome to see.
Yeah, it's easier for that employee to see what we're about, how they can scale in our company. Whereas they go to somebody else and they're like, yeah, you could start tomorrow, and yeah, we'll start you at this, and then, you know, we'll give you a raise here and there. They know when their next evaluation is going to be, how that works in the field. When we're looking at our managers are watching them, and, you know, we do have team meetings, we have manager meetings and all that type of stuff. So it helps out, and it shows that, you know, that they could scale in our company and work their way up.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. When did you actually start? I mean, I know you're the Patio Bros now. You were Black Diamond Design before the rebrand. When did you start, you know, your business together?
We started in 2010. Okay. It's still Black Diamond Design Landscaping. At the end of this year, we're going to be relaunching it to the Patio Bros. The Patio Bros is just a brand my brother and I picked up on Instagram, just to kind of like showcase what we do in the field and how we operate our systems. So then it kind of like grew on us where we're like, hey, you know, it's niched down to what we do now. So we want to take the Patio Bros brand and take it to the next level, where as we wouldn't be able to do that with Black Diamond Design Landscaping. And it was a tough transition. Like my father, I would, you know, they're old school. So I'd be like, we're going to rebrand our business. And their dad's like, what are you fucking crazy? Can I swear on here?
Yeah, of course.
Right, what are you fucking crazy, dude? Don't be changing your name. So they don't know, but he's always been like that, where he doesn't see our vision where we want to take the company. I'm like, relax. We got it to this far for a reason. You know, there's a lot of times where he would say, don't do this, you know. So you got that outsider noise. You know how it is, where you just got to do your own thing. So we know where we're going to take it and get that to the next level.
Sweet. So 2010, you started. What were you guys doing like right before you started? Like, because obviously you started business in 2010. What were you doing 2009 or 2009, I guess? Not 29.
Yeah. You know, we worked with a reputable company for 4 years before we started up. I was doing the hardscaping. Chris was doing the lawn maintenance side of it. You know, I had my first child. You know, we always wanted to do. We always wanted to start our own company. You know, we had that name in our mind, what we wanted to do. So, you know, we just went for it. Just mowing some lawns here and there. Got like 19 accounts our first year. Just growing ever since. And, you know, on employees, just trial and error, man.
A lot of trial and error.
A lot of trial and error. Working our asses off, dude. Just nonstop pushing, grinding yard signs, you know, knocking on doors, stuff like that. So as we were growing, building our, team with us, you know, we got to a little standstill in the business, you know, as we were getting older. And, you know, we met a mentor online, James Reed, Road to 100 Mil, shout him out, you know, and just put our systems and processes in place. And just, we saw it skyrocket from there.
All right, cool. Well, that was a huge jump.
I know. I was going to say that was a big jump. Yeah,
19
exactly.
lawns to that. So, okay, you guys are working for another company.
Yep.
You guys are out there doing what you're doing now, basically. I mean, might be different, but the same type, right?
Yeah.
What do you do then? Like you just leave? You both quit the job and just go? Like,
yeah, it was towards the end of the winter when we were like, hey, let's start putting this in place. That's when it was a little slow and we were still doing snow removal for those guys. And then we're like, let's launch this in March, you know, because that's when the season kicks off. Let's start going out. So like February, March, when March was getting nicer, we would start going out and we were like, hey, let's go to these nice neighborhoods. Check it out. We made up these brochures that I even messed up the wording on some of them. You know what I mean? It's just like, screw it, let's just go. Yeah. One client even was like, I'm not even going to go with you because you messed up a word. You know what I mean? So I'm like, oh, this is tough, man. Yeah. And it was just a lot of grind and just going out, because that was all we knew is like, hey, let's just go knock on doors and talk with people.
Our dad bought us their first truck to start.
Yeah.
Okay.
We saved up enough money to, you know,
trailer,
buy a mower, trailer, weed whacker, all that stuff. He hooked us up the truck and just went from there.
Oh, even on our first mower, we went to a rental place because we couldn't get any financing because we were new, right? And you know, so we were trying to get a lawnmower, and we went to a rental company, and we're like, hey, can we, you know, do a lease to own for this mower? And I was like, they're like, yeah, sure. And it was literally like $1,500 a month. I'm like, what the fuck? 0 accounts. I'm like, oh man, we need to get some accounts. And we're thinking we're going to make millions our first year. And then come to find out 19 accounts starting out. I'm like, shit, this is going to be tough. He had a house.
I had a house, child. Dude, I was working at night at a distribution center, you know, stacking pallets for beer for the next day, man. Stacking
pallets for beer money or for their pallets of beer?
For a beer company.
For a beer distribution company, bro. So,
okay. Yeah.
At night we'd start, some days 4 o'clock. You know, I would work all the way throughout the whole night, all the way to 4 a.m., 7 a.m.
Wow.
Get out of work and just go help him in the field, man. And just
some days
I was a zombie for a straight year.
Some days he'd be so tired and not get up, and I'd have to just go out by myself and mow the lawns. And all the money was going to Rich. Basically, I was still living at home in my parents' basement, and it was tough for me. You know, I just have some, you know, like beer money and stuff. Nothing crazy. I didn't need much, but we
knew we were going to get to that level. So you know,
we
sacrificed a lot in the beginning.
So you guys went all in the beginning. You didn't. I mean, you ended up getting a part-time job just because you needed it, but you went all in. You didn't say, oh, I'm going to side hustle this shit. You just went like, we're fucking doing it.
And then we started getting more larger projects. So, you know, we were on a larger project, you know, what was it? We thought it was large. It was a $60,000 project. We're like, oh my God, this is huge, man. This is great.
That was year one?
That was year probably two, three.
First year was just all lawns. And then we started getting into more hardscaping. after that year when we started getting our name out there, you know, then adding more lawns onto. I think our first year was 19. It was 19 accounts the first year. Second year, I think we maybe, you know, 30, roughly around 30 to 35 roughly. And then we started doing a little bit of hardscaping, a small walkway. And then it led into that bigger project. And we don't even know, because we don't even know if we made money on it, because we were on there for so long. It felt like
we didn't know our numbers.
It was just a whole process with that. It was brutal. It was brutal.
You know, that was probably like close to my year in with the distribution company, dude. And I was like a zombie, dude, every day. Like almost falling asleep, driving home in the morning to go meet with him. Some days I would be like, yo, Chris, I can't make it, man. I'm too tired. I got to go home, sleep, and then I'll meet you. And then one day, dude, it's like 2 o'clock in the morning. I was taking my lunch and in my car, dude, fell asleep, get a knock at the door like 2 hours later. And it was my boss there. And he brought me in after. He's like, listen, it's either this company or your landscape company, because he knew I had a business too.
Sure.
The next day came, I called him up. I'm like, I quit, man. So just went from there.
Yeah. And then Rich came to me. He's like, yo, let's just dive in. Let's just go hard.
Yeah.
And that's how it started.
Right. Okay. Well, that actually brings up a good point. People are like, you know, will definitely question it. You're just going all in. Obviously, Chris, you said you didn't have a lot of bills. It was all fine. Rich did. Did you have a lot of money in the bank to like fund this first year? Like, do you have like 5, 10, 20 grand?
No. Just money coming in, money coming out, just paying the bills, getting by. And it was like that for a while, you know, until we started getting more employees. And it just was the same throughout, because we didn't know our numbers and we didn't know how long we needed to be on the job. We weren't tracking anything. And that's when it led into
just getting by, man, paying the bills and that.
Yeah.
Like profit in the bank. So it was just constant year after year.
So that went around for 10 years almost, just trying to make it. You know, we got to around 700K. It was a standstill at that with employees, paying the bills, getting in debt more and more. And we're like, yo, we need a change. We need to figure this out. So that's when I reached out to our mentor online on Instagram, because you have to think about it. Before that, we didn't have Instagram. They didn't have coaches. They didn't have anybody that I could even trust, you know, and we were kind of, I would say, you know, not stingy, but just our ego was too big. I didn't want to reach out for help, you know, and it just got to a point where like, you know, we need to reach out. And you know, I've seen him on Instagram a bunch of times. I'm like, Rich, I think I just want to reach out to this guy. Just DM. I DM'd him, and he's like, yeah, I'm going to get you in contact with my office staff. And I'm like, damn, he's got an office staff? Sweet. And then I book it with her, and then she'll book a call with you. And I'm like, damn, this guy's big time. You know what I mean? I never knew that. Like,
yeah.
Call my office, you know, the deal. I'm like, oh, this is sweet. He's huge. First conversation that we had with him, we just nailed it right off the bat. It was like, awesome. It was November of 2021 when I met him. Or no, 2020 when we met him in November. And then we didn't know our numbers. He helped us fix that, dial it all in. That following year, we started implementing that stuff, and it just took off from there. 2 years later, we're in this 2,500 square foot showroom. But yeah, it was awesome just to meet him. We needed that change. And I always ask people, like, if, you know, reach out to people if you do, you know, find yourself stuck, because it will save you along. I wish I knew that when we first started up, because I would have reached out right away.
Right. You got to learn the hard way sometimes, and I can figure this out. Right. Yep. And that, when you go looking back at the first few years, like, what's something that you look back now that just makes you laugh, that either you were doing or you thought you would be doing, that you just look back now and you're like, oh my God, I can't believe that.
Man, that's a tough one. Look back. I never even thought about looking back at that. I always look back and I'm like, yeah, look how far we came. But
like, I mean, were you
jobs and just not even knowing numbers, man, just pricing out and just like, hey, how much are we going to make on this project? Like, looking back at it from now, it's like, what the hell were we doing?
Yeah, I would say that too.
Wish we could have changed that.
That's huge, because, you know, we would just, before that, would just literally go to the shop and say, all right, guys, we're on this job. And if that job was supposed to be 2 days, now that we know, you know, and the guys were on there for a week, we're just like, are we making money? No, we weren't making money. Now it's like, you have to be on this job for this long. We need to finish this project. So we're always, you know, it's about efficiency now. And that's what the most important is, just hustling, getting as many projects in as you can and doing it the correct way.
Yeah, absolutely. You talked about like that first, I think you said $60,000 job, year 2 or 3 or whatever.
Yeah.
Was that a fluke? Was that like, how did that happen? Like you just
That
walked
job
in,
right
like,
now, looking back at
I
it,
was being real with the client, you know, and told him everything about us, and I was just real with him, and he liked us. You know, he liked our personality. He had confidence in me and doing the project, and that's how I won it, basically.
how'd that feel for you? Like, were you scared out of your shit in your pants because you've never done a
Oh my
project
God.
that large?
Yeah, I was shitting my pants. Yeah, going against, you know, the top dogs in the area and priced out around the same, he said, and he went with us still. So
that job was
made me feel
brutal.
great. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, we did, Matt. We put the wall up along the wall, side of the road. We didn't know to like talk to the town or anything like that, right? and then it was fully up, and then the town supervisor, town person came, the inspector, and was like, "Listen, this wall's too close to the road. You need to move this back 3 more feet." And we looked at each other. We're like, "Yo, we're screwed."
no, that's not.
Yeah, it was.
No, we were there. We had string lines up, and the town guy came first.
Oh,
And he
yeah.
said, "I go, is this good where we could put the wall?" He goes,
Yeah.
"Yeah, absolutely." So we put it up, and then they came back, and then that guy was there the same day.
Yeah.
And they told us to move. I go, he told me that we could do. I had a string line up. He goes, "No, I didn't."
We had a gas line on that job, dude, and we had fucking NIMO there, like the whole, you know,
Police.
it was insane. Police, fire, crazy.
Dude, they shut down the whole block.
It was insane, man. That job, after knowing that, I was like, that job should have been $150,000 job. We did it for $60K. Like,
so it made us really learn a lot.
Yeah.
Did that job make you want to continue doing those big jobs, or did it kind of make you a little gun shy about the big ones?
It just makes you, it's just a learning process of like what you need to do for the next one.
We were prepared for our next wall, then we got it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
What needs to get done
You got to
right
learn somewhere.
How to go about doing that job. So it's just like I said, it's a learning curve.
What's like a mistake you've made along the way that still cost you money to this day?
What's a what? What's a
like
mistake?
a mistake, something you've done that's still costing you money. Like you wish you could go back and change it because it still costs you money even now.
What would you say?
Oh, that's a tough question. Not sure right now, man.
All right. I mean, that sounds deep. That sounds like the one I want to hear. All right. Well, if you think of something, you know, yeah. Has there ever been a time you guys been out there and you just like, you had that moment where you wanted to quit, but you didn't?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Every day it was like, why are we doing this? You know, back when we didn't know really much. Employees were running the business basically because we didn't have anything in place, and it was brutal.
We owed vendors so much money, dude, at certain points, and we were just like, what are we doing? Yeah.
Rich would even say like, listen, because he had a family and all that too, and he was like, listen, if this doesn't work out the following year, you know, I'm gonna have to look for a job because we can't keep doing this. But we just kept at it. We just kept at it.
Say why?
Yeah, it was just, I think,
why we kept at it.
Yeah, we didn't want to work for anybody else.
We didn't want to work for anyone else, man. And we knew we could do it. We knew we had the drive in us. So
okay,
that's what made us push. My family, you know.
And I didn't want to let us down, and I didn't want to let Rich down because I have him, you know. So it made me step up to figure this thing out. So that's
where Rich was at that point where he was like, yo, if it doesn't work next year, I've got to take care of the family. We got to do something different. Did it switch next year? Is that when it all kind of changed, when it was like, you know, back against the wall?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that was when it would happen, and that's when I started trying to find somebody that would help us, because like I said, we didn't really have Instagram where people were coaching and all that. I just stumbled upon our mentor right away, and he was the first one I reached out to, and he changed our business fully.
He went through the same struggles as us. Yeah, as he was putting it out there, so I'm like, wow, he went through the same thing.
But the hook that got me on Instagram was, I was in debt with over $300,000. The IRS was going to seize my house. And then I got out of it, and I was like, damn, if this guy could do it, why can't we? And then after our first conversation we had with James, he saved us like $70,000 right off the bat with like, hey, switch this machine, take this off. You don't need this. This is that. And he saved us like $60,000 that next year just by switching up that little bit. And I'm like, holy shit, I didn't even think about it like that. Because you don't look at it, you don't look at how much overhead you have, because we never tracked that.
We were all out of debt too, right? The next year too.
Yeah, basically, all out of debt. Yep.
Wow, that's awesome.
Which is huge.
someone shadowed you guys for a day or a week, well, what's something that they'd be surprised about, whether in business or your life, that, they
Probably
don't
our,
know?
probably, yeah, our drive is just getting up early, 5 o'clock. I switched that mindset where, you get up, do your work, get it done. And
Don't scroll on your phone.
yeah,
Get your proposals out, man, early.
just the drive, I would say.
Yeah.
Just pushing as hard as you can, showing the guys the correct way of doing things, helping people out. I like to help people. That's like my number one thing is to help people. Even when I'm in the field, I try to help guys and not be negative if they're doing something wrong. So that would probably be most likely our drive, and just, our care for what we're doing.
Okay. What about, you got a part of the business or something you're doing in the business that you guys absolutely hate, but you haven't fixed yet?
Yeah, we don't slack on it a little bit. It's just is when we have project folders, and that has all of our expenses throughout that project. But when we're so busy trying to scale the business and do all of this, and when those project folders come back, it's hard for us to kind of sit down and track it, and go through the numbers. Marketing too.
You got to do better on that.
Yeah. So there's stuff that still we need to do, and we recognize it. That's the number one thing, is recognizing it, and what are you going to do to fix it? So I've already in talks about like what we need to be doing and to move forward with it. And it's just every Monday we're going to sit down. I want to take 2 hours a day on marketing too for the business, especially when we do this new rebrand. I need to spend 2 hours a day at least in the morning time doing marketing. Nothing other than that. It's just going in the field, doing videos, and trying to expand this business. And that's where we see it's like we're always looking at ways of how to improve.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome. It's a good, honest answer, right? Because it's easy to look from the outside in and be like, man, these guys got it all fucking together. They don't miss a beat.
We're always learning every day, man.
That's what it's about. Every day. Always
that's how you grow.
Yeah. I know you guys are obviously big. Go ahead.
Recognizing what you're doing wrong in the business and just correcting it. That's what you have to do.
Yeah. Okay. Absolutely. Because there's always something, no matter how good you think you are, right? There's always that next thing that you can be like, oh, shit, I didn't even know we could fix this, right?
Yeah, 100%. Always implementing new stuff.
Process to profits. Obviously, you guys are big on processes and systems. What's one tool, system, process that has just totally changed the game for you guys?
Knowing our numbers.
Knowing your numbers. What does that mean?
That means
eagle eye overview.
So the way we broke down our numbers is figuring out how many working days you're actually working for your business. You're not working 365 days. You have to understand that you're not working 365 days. So we break down, we're working 22 working days per month. So that's because, we don't work Sundays, and you have to take off rain days, which we take off 4 rain days. Sure. So after figuring all of that out and knowing your working days for the year, we break all of that down into one single working day. And then after knowing that, you need to know your overhead. That's how we figure out, I basically teach guys on how to figure out knowing your overhead, give them homework, your asset depreciation, which is your vehicles, because you want money back on that, because that's equipment that you're using on these projects. Your labor costs you need to dial into, and then your profitability. What do you want to make per working day? So all of that goes into a project. Whenever you price a project out, that project's going to be 3 days. You're just going to implement this stuff in place. And then it's so easy as far as that goes, because all you have to do is know your material costs at that point, your markups and stuff like that. It's just and then that's just dialed in. You just got to make sure that you're on that project for those amount of days, because anything over that, you're losing. But if we're working 22 working days and there's 3 days left in the month, after that, it's all profitability for us. All of those 3 days are profit, net profit, everything, because you already paid for your overhead for those 22 working days. So basically, it's just knowing your numbers, figuring it out, dialing it in. And then after knowing that, it's just game over. My students even tell me, like, right after they know this, they're like, I cannot believe, like, I had guys that were doing over $1 million. I have text and everything, testimonials about it. And guy has $1 million he's doing, he doesn't even know his number. And after this, he was like, I cannot believe I didn't know this stuff. So I make it very simple for them. I dumbed it down. I dumped everything down in this community.
Yeah. And I'll say, even, what I teach my mentees too is you help me with that I call it daily operating number, because I was looking at my numbers from a monthly standpoint and I was winning, right? Then when we started looking at it daily or by the project, I found I was losing on some projects, but I had enough wins across the whole month that kind of just made that disappear, and I never noticed it. So I think how you do numbers is amazing, where you just know, like, hey, if we're on this job 2 days, we win. If we're on it 3, like, we're going to be out there making sure the job's done because we're about to lose money. Like that.
Yeah. So if people are going out there just on a whim and just saying, yeah, let's see if I make some money, you're really not. It's not like the job's $5,000 and at the end of the job, you're left with $2,000. It doesn't mean that $2,000 goes in your pocket. Right. You always have overhead, no matter who you are. You got insurance, you got bills, you got your cell phone bill. It's all overhead, and you have to realize that. Once you realize that, then it's just a game changer for you.
All right. Yeah. You're working with a lot of students. You guys know a lot of people, a lot of business owners. What's like one habit or one process that you see across the board that really separates the guys, the hustlers, the guys that are really doing it from like the wannabes?
I would say probably most likely the hiring process, maybe. A lot of guys that are like, I'm losing guys left and right. I need to go back in the field now. So I feel like it's more so like structuring your business where you need employees to stay with you. That's like the one thing I'm seeing right now is just guys are leaving everybody. And, there's not a lot of guys that really want to work. So if you don't have anything in play, and they're just going to go to the next guy that, that they feel respected.
Yeah. Okay. So you're huge on Instagram, I know, right? And your videos they're awesome and everything. So when you guys are gone, what do you hope people say you left to the industry? What do you want the industry to say, like they changed the industry? What do you hope that is?
I would just say it's just changing the industry as far as putting systems in your business. Like, these guys really do care. These guys really do want to help you. That's where I would say is just, I've helped, close to 100 people so far. Not 100 people, like at least 25, 50. We just launched this in last October. We launched this school, and it's growing organically right now. I'm still creating, I'm going to start creating ads for it to get more people involved. We just had our first live on Monday with another business owner that does marketing. That went really well. We had like 15, 20 people in the live. It was awesome. People loved it. We're getting a lot of good feedback for that. So
just teaching the new guys. That's what we're here for, to help all these new guys that are coming into the industry. Just reach out to us and, basically help. Don't go through what we went through.
And it also helps me push my business too. It kind of keeps me on my toes, where I got guys reaching out to me. They'll do this and this, because I need to be doing this. I need to make it work, so I could be like, yeah, it works, guys. This is what it's all about. So whenever I implement something in our company, I'm sharing it with them too. So that's what's good about it is it keeps me on my toes.
Yeah. I know I find myself, does this happen to you too, where I'm coaching, mentoring a guy about, hey man, why aren't you doing this? This is so obvious. And then kind of mirror reflect like, oh shit, I'm not doing it either.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Sometimes it happens. You're like, catch me. I'm going to get back in the grind. So
that's what it's a lot easier outside looking in rather than when you're in it. Everything just kind of gets mixed together, right?
Yeah, I think it's helped us grow our business too, because like I said, we're responsible for other people's growth. So it's making me push very hard right now and keep doing what we're doing. I love it.
10 years in the future, what do you think the future Chris and Rich are going to call you out about if they could talk to you right now about what you're doing?
They're going to say, happy that you trusted the process, you didn't give up, and you chased your dreams. And I love you for that.
Okay. What would they smack you in the head about? Hey, why the hell? What do you think? What's that mindset or something that you probably know in the back of your mind that you
probably would have said, like, you should have fucking stepped up a lot earlier than you did.
Sure. It can definitely be that.
But definitely trust the process.
If you're forced to just give one piece of advice for everyone who's listening to this, like if you could they take away only one thing from this, 35, 40 minutes, what is that one thing you wish and hope that they actually take away?
Create systems for your business. That's what I'm all about.
Perfect.
I get people saying, why do you talk about systems a lot? It's because you need them to run your business successfully. So you need to know
where we're at right now.
Systems.
And join
Awesome.
the school. Join the school, man. It's free.
Yeah, tell us about that. Tell me a little bit. What is the school? What goes on there? How do they visit it? Or is it like I come to a school and sit down?
No, so basically it's a school community. Alex Hermosi made it up. SKOOL. If you go on our Instagram at the Patio Bros, then you will see it right link in our bio. Very easy. Click it. It brings you right to it. Tells you everything that we do. I do give some free game out when it comes to the free version. I don't give it all. We do have a paid version as well, but at least I let you know what we are doing at the paid version. Also giving you some free game. But we dumbed everything down in our business. Everything that we do in our business, we give to you. It's exactly what we do. Start Here is basically you just start here. You watch all of the videos. Tells you everything you need to know of how to know your numbers, what we just talked about.
Okay.
And then answering the call, whenever that phone rings, you know exactly what needs to be done. Going on the consultation, after the consultation, door to deal. That's what it's called, basically, going on the consultation. And then the start date, when you start that project, when you end that project, we have employee structure on there. We have branding your business on there and a whole bunch of other cool stuff. It's pretty cool. So we just dumbed it all down where it just makes it easy.
Okay. And is that better for like guys that are just starting their business, or is it you can apply it at if I'm making 500,000, I could apply that school, or what's that target like?
What was the question? Sorry.
Like, what are they?
Is it only people who are just starting out, or is it for people who are?
No, it's for everybody who doesn't, have anything in place for their business. It's any service-based business, but we niched it down to landscapers and hardscapers. But for any service-based business that wants to get in the field,
somebody could be doing 5 million and still know their numbers, not making any money, and this and that.
Yeah, it has all the apps that we use. You helped us with some apps and implement some stuff too, with knowing with Telegram and all this other cool stuff. And
sure.
Monday.com is our CRM program that we use. So I have business structure in there, exactly, how to structure your business and all of that. So it's just it's step by step. It's very simple. Start here, end here. Simple.
All right. One last question, because I know guys are going to check you out. So first off, it's at the Patio Bros on Instagram. At
the Patio Bros. Yep.
So they're going to see it. They're going to see you have what, 12,000, 13,000, something.
Hey, almost 14,000.
Oh, hey, you got a lot of fucking followers.
We got almost 40 on TikTok too.
Not that much, dude.
Yeah, it's still, we're always trying, but it's always about being consistent.
But you're a local patio company, right? So I mean that's a huge feat. Like, let's not brush it off like that is a ton of followers for a local. You're a local patio. If we just break down everything else, you're a local service company, right? And so, what was there one video that made you do that, or is that from like a constant grind, or like
constant grind, man?
Dude, this guy, man,
post, and literally, this was 3 years ago. We started just saying, we should just. Social media is getting big. Like, we need to just keep posting and posting. I have a social media coach I had to buy. So I even, look out to other people. So I have a social media coach that helps us. He's helped me with the school. He's helped us with a whole bunch of stuff. But the main thing is just being consistent with posting. I always tell people, at least post once a day. At least, if you're going to do anything, at least once a day. If you're going to be grinding, you want to grow further. Like, I feel like once a day is not enough for me. And I need to be posting 3 to 5 times a day. And that's the next swing of thing, is just posting 3 to 5 times a day for me. And I do sometimes, we probably get almost 150, 160 posts a month out.
Wow.
So that's on average. So that's what it's about, is just grinding. That's been like that since, 3 years ago.
Yeah, before we used to just post.
So there's some videos that go viral. There's some videos that don't. There's some you're going to come to a standstill because some people don't like your content. So it's just more so about being consistent, finding what works. Once you know a video that goes viral and it does well for you, stick to that form of content and work around that, with videoing. Reels are huge. So always do reels. Easiest form of content to do, to give you a little tip, is documentary. We have the meta glasses that we just throw on, and we just document what we do. It's very simple. That's what I like about it. And the new style videos are kind of popping off right now, which is great.
Yeah,
that's awesome. And all those followers, those are just from like Fiverr for $10 or whatever?
Huh?
You just go on to Fiverr and buy followers? Is that the
recommendation? We don't buy any followers. I hate people who buy followers. This one kid DM'd me. He was like, yo, I just bought 20,000 followers. I go, for what? Like, I hate it. I hate when people buy followers. It's like, you're going to be lost in the algorithm. Instagram's going to find out. You're going to lose the followers again. And then you're going to be, shadow banned. So it's not even worth you doing that. So he got really pissed at me and blocked me from saying that.
That's awesome. All right. Well, guys, thank you for taking the time. You guys got a badass hardscape landscaping company. You're doing awesome things with the school. If you are in hardscape and landscaping, for sure, any service business, but definitely that, totally niched out. These guys have been there doing what you want to do. Check them out. Check out at the Patio Bros on Instagram. You have a regular website, or you just want them on Instagram?
Instagram's fine, and then I'm always active on there. That's why I always tell you it's the easiest way to get a hold of me.
Sweet. All right, guys, check out the Patio Bros. Check them out in school. Join the free school, then
free school,
and go for the upsell. Make
That's
some money.
Simple, guys. Hope to see you all there. I appreciate you, Matt, for even
Thanks
having
for
us.
watching, guys.
Yeah, thank you so much, Matt. And let's crush it. Get after it today.
Thanks for having us on, buddy.
Hell yeah, guys. This has been Captain's Quarters First Class, podcast from the Lighting Trade School. Guys, go out there and make some damn money.
Peace.